Kono bangumi wa goren no sponsor no teikyo de okurishimasu. Yeah.
Oh.
Missland is literally Spot the Difference, the video game. It came out when 3D games were still in their primitive form, with sluggish frame rates and really dithered, sharp geometry and textures. That provides Missland with a certain charm. You see, the PlayStation 1 had some really quality-looking launch titles that used textures to pack in a lot of detail. Here's the Japanese launch title Ridge Racer. And then Missland, released half a year later, opts for as few textures as possible, almost a complete night and day look. And I'd swear Ridge Racer still runs faster than Missland, even with all those textures. The game screen is split into 3. There are 2 vertical rectangles on the top screen, where the 2 real-time 3D images are displayed in tandem. The goal is to identify the differences between the 2 3D objects. Down in the bottom third is your score count, and some animated worms for some reason. You have to spot all 8 differences before the timer up the top runs out. You can freely rotate the object and zoom in and out in order to find all the differences. Once you find them all, the level is marked as complete and you can move on to another one. I really wish there was more to say about this. The music is okay, it uses Redbook audio, it sounds fine. The game randomizes from a set of 36 puzzles, so you don't get too many repeats. It can be played competitively against another player, or you can play a tournament mode with up to 8 players. Let me reiterate, you can play 8-player Spot the Difference on the Sony PlayStation. And for some reason, Missland got a sequel. I didn't realize Missland was such a success. I hadn't even heard of it less than a fortnight ago, so it obviously couldn't have been that popular. But never mind, these things are sent to try us. It was released late into 1998, and the leap those few years gave Missland is pretty noticeable. The sequel forgoes the freely movable 3D object in exchange for animated 3D scenes which can be played forward or backward at slow, medium or high speeds. Otherwise, it's the same idea as before. Now there are more changes, some levels had upwards of 14 differences, and the game has a much higher level of visual fidelity with some quality texture work. When you spot a difference, you get a slot machine pop up, which you can use to get extra points. Combined with the freedom to control the flow of time, it's much easier to find differences. They're not always obvious though. Sometimes a single cloud in the sky or a lily pad can be different. I did also feel that the game required a much greater level of accuracy with your selection, meaning you have to be dead sure you're on top of the change when you tap the button. If you could stop time, it would make things a heck ton easier. Some of the things you have to click on move way too quickly. I like that we live in a world where something as bizarre as Spot the Difference for PS1 can exist. And even better is that it hails from Japan and has a nonsensical name like Missland. Granted, there isn't really much to do in either of the games, they still make you use that grey matter somewhat. So I guess that's commendable. I'd love to be able to say, go out and buy Missland, it's great. But ultimately, it's getting increasingly hard to recommend games here on Sushi Bites. Maybe I'm just desensitized to what makes a good game. Or maybe our publishers in the US and UK actually did some vetting to stop bad games from coming over. Either way, Missland remains exclusively in Japan, where it deserves to stay. At the very least, I hope its existence humoured you, as much as it humoured me. This has been Sushi Bites. Thanks for watching.